Hello and welcome to the Elder Wand, a Harry Potter podcast. I am Matt.
And I am Ezra, friends. We are back with the extended edition, and we are talking about, I believe, a particular professor, Matt.
Yeah, man, I just wanted to pull this up, talk about him a little bit because go through his wiki. This is going to be Professor Binns, right?
Yeah.
Cuthbert Binns, he teaches history of magic at Hogwarts, and he's a ghost.
Yeah. He's a ghost. It's cool. I always joke that I would love to. I like history. You like history. I think you'd probably make a great history teacher, my friend.
Well,
Think you'd be great at it.
I would love to. I have a degree in history, so this guy is right up my alley. Well, except he's dead,
Right.
so he's up alley of ghosts, I guess, in my direction. However
Yeah.
that works, right? So anyway, so the whole deal is we meet him at the very early on in the series. He doesn't necessarily show up that much more after that, but except for he tells us a little bit about the Chamber of Secrets.
Yeah, that's true. That's a good point.
So he doesn't really get very much, I guess, screen time in the books, but he does give us some sort of interesting stuff here. So we know he dies. It says sometime before the 1970s. So as I haven't read those. I necessarily haven't read those books. Haven't seen the Fantastic Beasts movies, right? But Dumbledore is teaching at Hogwarts. It's earlier. He's not there, is he? Not that we know of.
Wait,
He
when?
would be in
Which now?
theory. I guess during like the Fantastic Beasts
Oh,
time, he would be at
ooh.
Hogwarts, wouldn't he?
Yeah, let me go back and see how, because I was thinking you were talking about at the end of the series. Because the cool part about him being a ghost is that when you get towards the end of the series, he could still be there. I think even in A Cursed Child, they talk about there was a visiting
I think
history of
he is
arts
there.
teacher. I think Professor Binns could still be there. But as far as, yeah, when did he start? Let's look at that.
So yeah, his family we don't really know much about. Just that he's part of this Binns family. We know that at some point he just taught for so long he was super boring, and at some point he dies. But it says here we go. So just sort of going off this Harry Potter wiki here, says he came to Hogwarts School of Witchcraft and Wizardry, applied for the post of professor of history of magic. And he taught there, right? Just incredibly boring. We know that in the 1970s, he taught James Potter, Lily, Peter Pettigrew, Remus Lupin, Sirius Black. Binns gives one of his chocolate frog cards to James Potter that later finds its way into the hands of Professor Quirrell, who puts it into vault number 998. That is some lore from the Harry Potter video game.
Holy smokes! Yeah, that is
Game Boy Color.
what in the
GBC
heck?
version. So we're gonna have to dive into that. It's actually really good. It's one of the highest rated Game Boy Color games there is.
That's some world building for you, though. That's a wild.
That is
Deep
now. Is that
connection.
canon or not? I don't
It's
know.
canon. I'm saying it's
it,
canon.
it has to be. So here we go. So then 1988 to 1989 year, he's teaching fifth year students, which includes Tonks, Charlie Weasley, in these classes. Again, super boring. It says that Tonks used her metamorphogus ability to transform into Binns in order to make lessons more interesting. Most of the time Binns did not pay attention to the class. Right, here's what's going on.
Right.
But I guess where things get sort of interesting really is the second year, right?
Yeah.
I was wondering if you could tell us anything about the Chamber of Secrets. Now, in the movie, I believe this is asked to McGonagall.
Yeah. McGonagall.
Yeah. The story goes that Slytherin had built a hidden chamber in the castle of which the other founders knew nothing. Slytherin, according to the legend, sealed the Chamber of Secrets so that none would be able to open it until its true heir arrived at the school. The heir alone would be able to unseal the Chamber of Secrets, unleash the horror within, and use it to purge the school of all those who are unworthy to study magic.
Yeah, it's interesting. So at that point, he becomes an interesting professor, one in which they will listen because the whole point is they're people goof off, they fall asleep during his class, they wake up, they write some notes, they intimidate, they pretend to be him, or they conduct their own activities. It's kind of crazy, but there are certain points, and I was just reading some of the histories prior even to the Chamber of Secrets, when if you wanted to know something interesting, like I think they bring up port keys. Charlie Weasley was talking about port keys and wanting to know, and again, that's video game additional Harry Potter content that I think is cool, where you go to the professor and he actually has knowledge that you need and you're going to pay attention now. That's what happens in Chamber of Secrets. And it's cool because they're all like, I remember reading that. Everyone's like on the edge of their seat, like listening. It was the most attentive they had ever been. And when your kids are more attentive, he was like into it and was kind of shocked, like, well, this is really not necessarily history, right? But
Right. Later on in book 3, Prisoners of Azkaban, third year, he allows Remus Lupin to use his room to let Harry learn how to learn the Patronus charm.
hey, there we go. There we go.
So yeah, it's one of these names you get seeing fourth year, right, or 1994 to 1995. Yeah, fourth year, right? They're preparing for their owls. Since Harry had been chosen as a champion, he was exempt from the end of term exams,
Hmm.
and so paid less attention to bins than usual. It was known that History of Magic lesson was one of 2 classes before the first task of Triwizard Tournament, followed by Transfiguration. So not really a
Right.
whole lot there. Following year, this is the Umbridge year, Order of the
Hmm.
Phoenix. Today, they suffered 3/4 of an hour droning on subject of giant wars. Harry had just enough within the first 10 minutes to appreciate dimly that in another teacher's hands, the subject might have been mildly interesting. But then his brain disengaged, and he spent the remaining 35 minutes playing hangman on a corner of his parchment with Ron, while Hermione shot them filthy looks out of the corner of her eyes. So not really a whole lot that goes on with bins.
Yeah. Hey, I
Um,
that year I
it
think it's
is
the
Go
the
ahead.
Umbridge thing. Remember, she's investigating everyone. I think one of the questions is, did she investigate him? It's not really
Right.
known. But
It is
Matt, wouldn't it
it's
be cool
unknown.
if she did, and like she probably gave him high marks.
She
He's just,
probably did
you know what
because
I
he's
mean?
incredibly boring.
Yeah, I
And
mean, he's just spouting out facts, and it's just
I
like,
would say well, first of all, there's no way she didn't investigate every teacher. There's just zero chance. I mean, she's
right,
like crazy thorough. So the fact to me that his name doesn't come up as somebody who was like in trouble or kicked out or anything
right.
means she probably liked him.
Yeah, she liked him. Yeah, for sure. He fits what the ministry would like as the standard curriculum or whatever to be taught at Hogwarts, and so he's doing that.
Yeah, and then as you said, the last thing we know, he's it's unknown what went on during the final year, Deathly Hollows year. If he took part of any of the Battle of Hogwarts or anything like that, it's completely unknown. And then after the war, we just know that there is this is cursed child time, that there's a visiting professor.
Right. Yeah. So some cool things here actually. It was the wars. Like when you would talk about the Goblin Wars and some of that stuff, like it crops up from time to time or pops up from time to time in terms of some of their history, and you get a little bit of understanding about that, or Hermione will talk about it or reference something from his lesson. So it might not be him necessarily, but she's either quoting him or talking about what was learned in their class. And so that is kind of cool just to get more lore there. So,
Okay, so this is just some interesting kind of behind the scenes stuff, and he does appear in the Lego Harry Potter games, and so there's some funny little tie-ins and stuff like that. So because he does assign homework and essays, but because he's a ghost, it's unknown how he's able to mark them.
oh yeah. Yeah.
Says
So,
he might be
yeah.
in possession of a quill that he can just talk to and have it
Oh, that's cool.
right right on the papers. Yeah.
Yeah, that'd make a lot of sense if that's in his possession or something. Yeah, how would he?
Yeah, he did not appear in any of the films. Again, his thing was given to Professor McGonagall.
I love they've got like a
Um
little Lego version of him. I
Lego
see him here. That's funny.
like yeah, the only ones he yeah. he appeared in the Game Boy Color version of the main things, and then he appears in the Lego Harry Potter's years 1 through 4, the Hogwarts Mystery, which I think is it's like a mobile game. Yeah, and that's really kind of it.
Yeah.
There's sort of other, you know, most of it's just sort of like stuff. He's a ghost, so this would mean this would mean this, but that's really
Yeah.
kind of it on Bins. People are probably as bored as Harry is of us talking about this, but it's kind of interesting just because sometimes these smaller characters who are part of the world and they appear often enough, to it's kind of always like, I wonder what happened to that guy.
Yeah. Here's the thing. I think what people liked about Fantastic Beast was you went back to Hogwarts and you actually could see Dumbledore younger. You saw McGonagall. You may see other individuals. So if Professor Binns is there in not ghost form, that's awesome. That would be a really cool connection. He's super old later when he dies in the staff room. So there's really no reference of time as to when he died or any of that. Was he a ghost? How long has he been a ghost? When did he pass away in the staff room? All that stuff. They talk about him not wanting to go beyond the veil, the fear of death, and maybe it was just more that he wanted to teach. His whole life, he just never wanted anything more than just to teach. So that's why he stuck around. So
Yeah,
it's cool. I love it.
All right. So anyway, that's a little just deep dive, I guess, on Professor Binns, our ghost teacher.
I love him. I'm happy. I would actually, I think I would enjoy his class. I bet he, if you ask him questions, I bet he would spice it up a little bit. Could tell you a good story. What if he's like totally different as a younger teacher, Matt? And just as he got older, he just started to drone and got less like, because history, you got to paint the picture, right? You've got to like paint that in kids' minds and let them know.
Who is your favorite ghost
ghost
that we meet in Harry Potter?
Gosh, I don't know. I mean, I always the Fat Friar is cool because he's my house ghost, right? But I saw I don't know. We see more of Nearly Headless Nick. I don't know that I have a favorite one. That's interesting to say. It would honestly probably be Ben. Like if I had to say, like Professor Ben's is really cool because the other ones are like attached to a house, and you feel kind of like that's a easy out.
I think you're forgetting about a big one, my friend.
What, the Bloody Baron?
No, Moaning Myrtle.
Oh my god! Oh my god!
Myrtle's I think she's hilarious.
She is hilarious.
I think she's hilarious.
Yeah,
like when Harry has to go back into the bathroom to take a bath to figure out what's going on with the egg when he's in the Goblet of Fire, and she like gets in the bath. It's like ridiculous.
Well, there's a cool, and I'm gonna make you watch it at some point. The play Puffs. I have it. I bought it. I can give it to you. It is it's hilarious because Moaning Myrtle helps Cedric in that play. So you get to see her interact with Harry, but the play will show you kind of it's a comedy. It's totally whatever. It's not canon, but they sort of interpret what it was like for Moaning Myrtle to be there with Cedric in the shower in the bath, and it was pretty funny. So
yeah, did you know that just want to confirm that the actress who plays Moaning Myrtle?
Oh yeah, she's
in Star Wars.
Oh, right. She
voices Babu Frick in Rise of Skywalker.
Whoa, I did not know that, actually. Did not know that. I knew that she was much older than what we think she is, what we perceive her to be.
Yes. Yeah,
right?
she's in a lot of stuff. I think she's another one of those sort of like British actress. She's from Scotland who appears.
Nice.
Oh my god. By the way, and we'll keep this here in extended edition. Did I send this to you? You may have to do a Google search right here, right now.
What is it?
The Scottish version of Harry Potter.
Oh.
Have you looked at this? We're going to have to do a read.
Hold on. Is there like a PDF? Let me see here. Itchy Coo? What the heck?
You can literally just do the laddie who lived.
The laddie what lived. Wow. Mr. and Mrs. Dursley, number Fowler. Fold.
Privet Loan were proud to say that they were gay normal. Thank you very much.
Oh my god. They were the least folk you would. Oh, that's
Jealous
hilarious.
we'd be tangled up with them and weird.
Oh
Because they
my.
just didn't had it's so insane. The whole book is written as I looked for an audiobook. I couldn't find one.
Please, Lord, someone do that. I want to hear this
Do you think we
done
could
right.
maybe get somebody from Scotland to read this for us so we could
Oh, and the Dursleys had often they wanted
Mrs. Dursley was a skinny, malinky, blonde-headed woman who's correct. It's ridiculous.
This is crazy. This is crazy. So
The Dursleys had a wee son called Dudley.
they had a wee lad. That's funny. No, we're gonna have to. If anybody can do a really good Scottish read, it's they try. It's definitely it's weird because you got to figure out like what are they saying there. You know what I mean? A Nitherkeek. What?
I have no idea.
It looks like a freaking different language.
It does.
Wow. Is this? We can actually buy this, huh?
Yes, we can.
Wow.
Sounds like we drink some butterbeer
Yeah.
and try to read it.
Yeah, I like it. Yeah, it's cool. I got to work on my Scottish accent, so this would be good. Looks like it might help. It might help. So that's cool.
Do it. Awesome. All right, guys. Hey, well, thank you guys very much for supporting us here on Apple Premium and on Patreon. You guys seriously have no idea just how big of a help it is to Ez and I. And especially just being able to crank out more and more content and upgrade equipment and all of that stuff. We literally could not do everything we do without you guys. Could not
Straight up.
whatsoever. So we definitely appreciate it. So with that, we want to thank you as always, and remember to have your wands at the ready.